Hey, Blended Family Nation. Once again, we're back with Richard R. Ramos, the Parent Whisperer. The Parent Whisperer. And he whispers some incredible things. Today, this is one, folks. Today, we're going to talk about something that there is not a parent out there that says, oh, I don't have that issue. And that's because most of our children, at least over a certain age, are walking around with a cell phone, or they're on their tablets, or they're on their computer looking at social media. Today, we're going to focus on social media, what to be aware of, how to keep an eye on it, and the impact of it, because we got the guy that's done the homework, understands it. And so, as always, Richard, great to have you back, and let's get after it.
Yeah, it's always great to be with you, Dan, and thank you for what you're doing for the blended families across America. That's great.
You're welcome. So you have done, I know you've done some homework. And first off, folks, I want to make sure, up front and out front, Richard R. Ramos, it's on your screen right there. You see that. He also has a podcast, and you see that below there with us. And so he's offering some great tools, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But right now, we're going to talk about social media because it impacts adults. If you follow anything in America today, adults, but our minds, we're able to filter some things. But Richard, let's talk about social media and the youth of America.
Yeah, I think that is the thing that is not only influencing, but hurting so many of our children today. I did a little research on this. One was there was a study that was done in the UK. They asked 14 to 24 years old what they felt social media platforms, what the impact on their mental health was. And the survey found that Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram all led to increased feelings of depression, anxiety, poor body image, and loneliness. Now, just imagine that. Then I asked the question, okay, well, that's the UK. That was a survey done, but I think it speaks probably to on a global level. But also, I did a search on how many social media influencers, as they call them, are there in America. And the study that I found, it said it varies between 24 to 27 million paid content providers or creators, as they call them. And 12 million of them are working full time. Now, what that tells me is that there's a lot of people paying attention, that 12 million of the 27 million can be doing it full time. Now, I want to be clear. I'm a creator of information too. I'm a content creator. I want to influence people as well. But what I'm talking about and what I've read is these social media influencers, that their motive is negative. Their motive is pulling people or young people away from their parents, undermining the authority of parents, and causing young people to go astray. So that's why I say this social media influence is hurting our children. And the last thing, Dan, I teach in Parents on a Mission to parents. You are in a daily battle with the four M's that I call it, the four M's. That is your competition. Movies, magazines, social media, and music. Those four things are constantly bombarding our kids 24/7, 365. But today we're talking about the influence of social media on our children.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Because probably in my generation, growing up, music, oh, listen to that music. Parents would then talk about that music is bad, but now we're in a whole. Not only do we have music here and video, but social media pumping things into our brain. And as you said, what an impact it's having.
Yeah, I mean, social media on there's Instagram, that's a young adult more, but our kids are more on the younger kids on TikTok, that and Facebook. But TikTok is the very, very popular for adults as well. But what's happening with mental health, a lot of the studies show that it is causing young people to be more lonely. You would imagine you're on social media, you have all these friends, I guess we'll call them connections. And yet the data shows young people are more depressed, more lonely, and more anxious than ever before. It's amazing. It's almost having the reverse effect. Now, we're not talking, I don't want to get crazy here. I'm not talking 100%. There's a lot of young people that are having a good time and they're fine. But you cannot deny that there are other millions of young people who are feeling depression, anxiety, and loneliness.
Wow, those 3 things: loneliness, depression, and anxiety. Adults, we can recognize that. I can recognize when I'm feeling anxious or even if I have situational depression over something. But loneliness, if you're like you said, if you're 12, 14, 16, or whatever age, you don't have the necessarily the cognitive ability to say, "Hey, I know what's going on here." You get caught up in it.
Well, we know as human beings, we are wired to belong. We want to belong. We're wired. We want to find out, why am I here? Who am I? What is my identity? I want to be connected to something. I want to be wanted. I don't want to be tolerated. I want to be embraced. And the key is if our children, our stepchildren in blended families, and even in the normal biological family, if they're not finding that at home, they're going to find it somewhere else because we're wired that way. We want to feel embraced, not just tolerated. We want to feel connected. We want to be part of that cool crowd or that in crowd. And so the vacuum is being filled by these social media influencers if young people don't find that embracing, that connection, that anchor of their soul at home.
Oh man, that is so true. That's a home run. That's a 60-yard field goal, three 3-point shot. Because what you said is exactly what we talk about at USABFA. We say, in fact, on the webpage, it says 29 million households strong. Be a part of something bigger than yourself. Kids, you said it. They want to belong. They want to have a sense. And we often say, for blended families, step families, single parents, you are not alone. And that's exactly what you're saying, Richard. These kids, as they watch this stuff, they want to feel like, oh, they're just like me. And then if they get hooked, and then that person that's just like them is espousing or saying or doing something that isn't healthy, then that's not a good thing. That's why what we're trying to do is provide tools and resources that bring about better health for parents and children. But you nailed it. That's it, to be a part of something. We all want to be that. We all want to be a part
We
of
all,
something bigger than ourselves.
and just imagine we in the step family, blended family situation, especially if it's new, especially if it's forced. The kids didn't ask for it, the kids don't want it, but as adults we make these decisions. I fell into that, making the decision without really considering how my kids felt about it. I kind of knew they weren't good with it, but I did it anyway. Imagine a kid in that situation, and if there's no connection, if there's no, okay, let's pay attention. Let's really focus in on the kids because we know they're not happy. If they're feeling left out, if they're feeling like an outsider now, let's say that when you blend families, the man has kids, the woman has kids. And let's say that some of those kids are starting, the woman is paying more attention to the man's kids because she wants to be the new mom in their life, or vice versa. The dad's paying more attention to her kids because he wants acceptance and be the new dad there. That creates that vacuum where kids now are going to look outside the home because it's already strained enough that we all know that. There's no sense in denying it or hiding it. The kids are vulnerable at that moment. And so, mom and dad, stepmom, stepdad, if you're listening to this podcast, be aware of that. Make sure that we are really making that connection, that intimate connection, that attachment that I talked about last time. Because if we're not giving that belonging to a new family at home, they're going to find a new family out there somewhere.
Yeah, you've said that before. That's always stuck with me because if they're not getting the attention and the love or feeling like somebody's connected to them at home, you've nailed it before. You said they're going to find it elsewhere. And that's so true. We'll have to do a whole segment sometime on that. What you talked about is whether it's called sibling rivalry or how non biological parents work hard to try to build, relationship and connection with the non-biological children. They're all children. Kids just want to be loved. But you're right. I can recall in my life where sometimes one of my children saw that I was giving extra attention to um, someone that wasn't my biological step. I don't like that word step, but that to define it. And they were like, well, and then my daughter said, well, Dad, you're giving a lot of attention there. I miss my dad. And so we'll have a whole program on that because that's such a powerful thing. But back, my ADD got us off track here. Back to social media, because if you think about what you said, Richard, is that there are people that's all they do all day long is they're thinking about how do I get the attention. And I know, and I've talked with my youngest daughter, and she said, Dad, you have to do something that's just way out there, attention grabbing. You got 3 seconds as they're going through their phone. You got 3 seconds. So it's got to be something that leaps off the page. And usually it's something negative, or it's an attack, or it's an ugly photo, or it's something like that. And that's exactly what you're talking about, warning parents to be aware of.
Yeah, that's right. And what I suggest are 5 different things that we can do, whether we're blended family or not. But these are just basic things that we're constantly repeating. And remember, we repeat ourselves on purpose. Repetition is the mother of all learning. So, and not only that, somebody might be listening to us for the first time. So even though we may have said something in the last podcast, these are principles that must always be repeated. Think about it this way. When professional athletes go to training camp, what do? They do the same thing over and over and over again every summer or every spring or whatever the season starts. The season ends, they go off, they rest for a while. But when they come back, they do the same drills, the same training, because those are fundamental principles. And it's the same way with us. So if you say, well, Richard, I heard you say that before. Repetition is the mother of all learning. But the number one thing we got to do is secure our attachment. Don't take it for granted. Secure it. Maybe you said, oh, I already did that. I have an attachment with my son, my stepdaughter. Sorry to use the word step, but in this context, that's what we're talking about. We know as step parent, we consider our kids, but
That's
in this
right.
context, so I apologize for that.
Well, it's
But
only for defining. Yes, I think people
yeah,
understand that.
okay. You may say, oh, I already did that. Okay, well, keep securing it. Don't take it for granted. Don't let it get lax, because that's how things start to change, where I've already done that. That's kind of like saying, oh, I told my wife, I already told you I love you. I don't need to keep saying it over and over again. Yes, you do. Oh, that's a marriage class. Never mind. We'll get through that another time. But secondly, stay present. Be that voice in your child's head. Yeah, the radio, the social media, the music, but dad's voice. Stay present and let your voice also be in your child's head. Let them hear your voice when they're going to do something maybe that they shouldn't do, but then they hear you saying, son, we talked about that. And that's how you are being present. Don't outsource your voice to the 4 M's. Number 3 is to teach discernment. And this is really important, that we can teach our kids, hey, maybe think about what you're hearing and who you're hearing it from. Just because I would always tell my kids this, just because the guy on TV has a white shirt and a tie and a coat, that doesn't mean that everything they're saying is on the up and up. We have to use our own discernment to and listen to our spirit and listen to our intuition. Um, Maybe they're trying to sell us something we really don't need. So the discernment. Number four is to what do I have down here? Healthy influence. So we can just model that how to, we're influenced by other things, but we're showing them a healthy way to be influenced. Do our homework, check it out, don't swallow it hook, line, and sinker. And the last thing is to build emotional maturity. And that is something that, we talk about all the time. I want to be a role model of that so I can help my kids to be a leader in the crowd and not just a follower.
Yeah, and that's just an ongoing thing because maturity, as we talked about, folks, you want to go back and watch our last our last interview, we talked about emotional maturity and emotional intelligence because that's
Yeah.
so important whether you're 5 years old or you're 95 years old. We're always growing and learning. So I want to make sure because those are great 5 points. So if I were to bullet point them, the first one,
Secure your attachment, stay present, teach discernment, model healthy influence, and emotional maturity. Those are
yeah,
five basic principles that we should never stop doing. It's just an ongoing, like brushing your teeth in the morning, whatever, or routine habits that we get into. Those are habits to continually work with and building that blended family. And
yeah.
and one
Oh, those are
thing,
so good. You see those on I've got those listed there on the screen, folks. But that first one, I was just talking with someone today about that secure attachment is that we get so busy in families, especially in big blended families. We get so busy like in the morning. I've always encouraged just, 3 seconds is a long time these days, but 7 seconds, but maybe just before the a child goes to school or you go off to work, literally 7 seconds is nothing, but kind of just smile at them, put your put your arms on their shoulders, smile at them, and just look at them for 7 seconds and say, I love you. I'm here for you. Make some kind of whether it's a joke or some kind of a meaningful touch, but that attachment because they'll remember, especially when they get to be a year from now or 20 years from now, they'll remember my dad, my mom took 7 seconds every day to tell me that we were connected. That you get all those points are so good.
well, listen, it's not what we know, it's what we do. Because I know that I'm simply reminding parents, mom and dad, I'm just reminding you of what you already know. So you might say, well, I know that, I know that. It's not about knowing it. Are we doing it? Because if you know it and you don't do it, you don't know it. If you say I know but you don't do, you don't know. We're just deceiving ourselves.
Yeah.
And one other thing I want to caution parents on this, because the tendency is to try to control our children's use of social media. Now, if you've been doing that from the time they were, little and only 30 minutes or only an hour or whatever, then it's going to be easier for you. But if you have not been doing that, if you have not been monitoring and controlling the screen time of your son or daughter when they're at home, obviously when they're not at home, you can't do anything. But when they're at home and when they go to bed, and then all of a sudden now you say, oh my God, I didn't realize it was that bad. And then you try to control it. Uh, that's not going to work well. It's not going to go well. It's about connection before correction. It's about reestablishing the relationship, showing curiosity. Why are you so interested in that? Those kind of things, because we all know the tendency. The more you try to take something away, a freedom away from people when they already had it, the harder they're going to fight you. It's like trying to cause a boy and girl to break up. The more you try to pull them apart, the closer they're going to get together. And it's the
That's
same with social media.
That's so great. Folks, we've been talking Richard Ramos, the parent whisperer. You see his information there on the screen. And we've been talking about social media. And if you recognize there's some things that you could remember about this program, but share this. Feel free, please share this on your social media, or share it in an email or a text to someone. Say, hey, this guy's talking about social media. He had some 5 great points that helping me. Maybe it can help you. So be sure and do that. And ongoing, this is the Parent Whisperer program as part of USABFA. And before we get going, Richard, I'd like you to share. You have got on your website, folks, you see there, you have got the Parents on a Mission program, and you've got a program, the Leadership Blueprint, the Leadership Blueprint. That's easy for me to say. It's a new mouth. I just had this mouth installed 2 days ago, so I'm just getting it worked in. The Leadership Blueprint for parents who want to raise confident, loyal, and emotional, healthy kids. And you're not alone. We all could use that. So if you would just real quick tell a little bit about your Parents on a Mission program, Richard.
Yeah, I developed Parents on a Mission. It's a leadership program for parents. And you got to remember this, parents uh, on a mission is not for bad parents. It's for good parents who want to get better. I keep saying that over and over because parents sometimes say, oh, I'm not a bad parent. I don't need parenting classes. It's not for bad parents. It's for good parents who want to get better. It's a leadership program, and I put it online now, so I'm going to be rolling that out. It's a new online program. The curriculum is not new, but I've never put it online before. But I realized, Dan, Parents on a Mission is not offered in every city and every state in the country. So I thought this would be a way to reach more parents. You can go on there, enroll. You can watch the videos at your own leisure. There's 12 videos. They're anywhere from 12 to 15 minutes long. You can watch them at your own leisure. You can invite other parents to watch them with you, and you'll have access to them lifetime. So you can go to my website, richardrramos.com, and you'll be hearing more about that program. It's a new program. I shot all the videos, and it's ready to go. The second thing is I wrote the book, The Art of Stepparenting, How to Blend Families Without Tearing Them Apart. So that's another resource there you can find on my website, and other things there. But I just appreciate all of you. Blended families, stepmom and dad. It's a tough road. We can do it. You're not alone, like Dan said, and that's why he has created USABFA, and I'm glad to be a part of it, to serve.
Well, you just are a diamond of a discovery in this whole world of what's going on with parenting, and especially for blended families, step families, and even for single parents too, because most cases, sooner or later, those single parents, that single mom or dad, they're going to say, hey, I think this girl's cute. Let's get married. And then they can be ahead of the game by having spent time with us. Folks, Richard Ramos, and I'm Dan Snell. You can, right here, where is it? Right here, you see this QR code. You can go to USABFA by just putting your camera up to that QR code. We're going to be back every week. Richard is. Share this. As I said, share this. If you would, wherever you're seeing this on social media, if you would just like it, hit the like button and the share. But just let us know, maybe make a comment. It's encouraging to Richard, encouraging to I. A lot of people watch it and they go, that was great, but then they don't let us know. So we want to know, so our sponsors and partners know. And and be sure and visit Richard's website that you see on the screen. So once again, thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week. Richard, as always, great to be with you. And folks, remember, USABFA is here for you. You're not alone.